you approve of that?
You gonna turn that over to Lynn since you have it on for money?
She's supposed to have it.
Okay.
Well,
she's on vacation for Easter this month.
Oh, she is all week?
Yeah. The show gets stuff done. If stuff needs to be done, she'll get it done for Monday.
Yeah. Denise normally, I think I got her given that stuff to.
Okay.
I hope.
If not, just remind me Monday and we'll read it Monday anyway.
Yeah. We'll go ahead and get started on water. Kind of wanted to bring up some changes in personnel. Steve Glob, the superintendent of the water plant, is retiring. He will be replaced by Mike Hammond, who is the only one that applied for the superintendent's job. Then that also opens up a position for operator for Mike Hammond's position, and we will be asking for laterals for that. Also, Doug Hughes moved to the street department, and that created an opening in the wastewater department. So we asked for laterals for that department, and no one chose to lateral into the wastewater department. He officially doesn't retire until February 3rd, but he will be taking his vacation. He's taking the rest of his vacation, so he won't be here any of the month of December. Okay. Then he comes back for like a weekend or I think it's one day next year, and then he takes his additional vacation then.
February 2nd.
February 3rd is his official retirement date, I believe. So he's using.
It'd be better if the last week there probably cost some money to go bad.
Yeah, that's big time, but that's what he wanted to do. So anyway, that was his decision. That's what he wanted to do. He felt that he needed to be home with his wife. I know she's been having some medical issues, and he wanted to go ahead and retire and do that. So anyway, just kind of wanted to bring you up to date on personnel. What it kind of looks like now is that there will probably be two openings, one in what I'm guessing, I don't know, one in probably at the water plant and one at the wastewater plant.
It's hard to only one person. Must be the boss.
Yeah, it is. Actually, I mean, he is really, if you sit down and look at all the qualifications, he is really the only one qualified. I mean, we could get some other people apply for that, but Mike would be training them. So there's only 3 people that work at the water plant. There's only not one of the 3 that has licensing that could step into that position, and that's Mike. Now, we could have some people move from wastewater possibly into that position, but they're really, I mean, they're familiar but not really familiar with it. So they probably just didn't feel comfortable.
They probably do. Even if they applied, the person with the most skill probably was going to do it anyway. Probably knew.
It'd be hard to look at other people. I mean, not that we wouldn't.
What about Hoskins?
What about
He doesn't have a license. He doesn't have a license. I didn't know. I mean, he's been there forever. I didn't know whether,
heck of a worker, good worker, but never chose to get his license.
Okay. Mike's a good guy.
So yeah, Mike's a good guy, and I'm sure he'll work out fine. We're waiting for the civil service right here to move him into that.
that's what we asked Debbie to do last week.
Right. So, that's some issues on personnel there. We're getting ready to do the final payment for Kirk Brothers for the expansion of the water plant. It actually was an update. Excuse me. So once everything's been turned in to the engineer on that, then we will make our final payment to Kirk Brothers. And I think the amount's like $64,000 for the last payment. That'll be due. Everything's working real well. Clarifier, we expanded, we increased it. Actually increased plant capacity about 400,000 gallons a day, and then updated all the clarifier and dry units and the high service pumps, and everything's working very well. Everything's working to be as it is expected to work. Distribution in the water. Distribution crew rented a track hoe. As you can see in the first picture there on the first page, we had separation of the drain line coming from the main down reservoir on top of Star Hill. We built that header right there, you can see in the picture, a couple years ago, but on up where you see the track hoe digging, it separated. It was put in with tile, clay tile. And as erosion takes place on that, the tile was coming apart, so we replaced it with C900 plastic pipe. And if you turn to your second page, you can see at the top there, I didn't get there quite early enough, so we started covering things up, but that's where
How big around is it?
that's I believe it's an 8-inch drain line. And the guys were real proficient with the track hoe. Actually, Tim did a lot of the work on that, not John. So personnel ran the track hoe very well. Did a real good job.
Good. I was looking at that face, I go, you don't look like John.
Yeah. Also, the distribution crew's been working on hydrants. This time of year, they go around and make sure that all the hydrants are draining properly. What happens is we'll get really cold weather and the hydrant barrels will freeze, and then a fire truck will pull up to that hydrant and try to turn it on, and then it's open. So they've been going around checking, making sure all the weed poles are draining properly. None of the hydrants been froze up during the cold snap that we had. Also, they were working on the valve boxes in people's yards that aren't centered on top of the valve properly. So they've been doing some work with those and maneuvering the boxes so that we can get them off on them with the valve wrench. So that's been keeping them pretty busy. We're looking into the lime sludge lagoon. Looking into the lime sludge lagoon, we didn't get everything removed lime sludge wise that we wanted to. Actually, they only took out about 2,500 dry tons in the 3-year period. We were supposed to take out an additional 3,000 dry tons, and that's partially due to the fact that we didn't have in the contract where they had to absolutely take out so much. We set the amounts, but we didn't make them take that out. Why that was left out, it was, but we've never had that problem before. We've done a contract before, and they've always came and taken it out.
Because they don't get paid unless they take it out. So if they don't take it out, they don't get paid by us.
Right. So it's not like we gave them money or anything like that. I mean, they have to actually haul it out, and then they give us an invoice. We actually test it, see how many dry tons are in there, and then we pay them for whatever they remove. Well, this company, it's a new company. They had some issues with some bankruptcy problems. They changed personnel. We had them 3 years before this one. We had them before this contract. They did an excellent job. Of course, we had no problems at all, but everything changed in their workforce and went their contract into this year. So what we will be doing is we will be rebidding it next year again. And then in that contract, we will stipulate that they must remove so many dry tons per year. And we're trying to decide on exactly what we're going to make a move on that, or how we're going to word that so that it's correct, so that we don't get stuck. Now, we're not by any means in any problem where we're going to overflow or anything like that. I mean, it's down, so we're not going to have problems with the lime lagoon overflowing or anything like that. But the bad part is we are going to have to rebid it again, get a contract with another company. And I doubt if we'll let this company bid it again. But there's several other companies in the area. I've already had a couple phone calls on people wanting to do it. So we we did talk about possibly we could let someone else come in and do that for us this year. The bad part about that is when you put, we could allow them to do that, but we have to draw up a contract, we have to do a background test on them and everything. By the time we do all that, cold weather and the snap and everything, we'd be better off just rebidding the whole thing and doing it next year.
Can you put a stipulation the first year they take out maybe the water since we've got a slightly higher abundance of
We could do, yeah.
tonnage?
Yeah. It's actually set up exactly the way this is right here. First year is 2,500 dry tons, second year 1,500, third year is 1,500. We could actually bump that up some on the first year if we wanted to. But we're looking over the whole contract. Burgess and I usually does a contract for us, but they were in the other day and we discussed it a little bit. They're going to come up with some ideas, and then I'm going to come up with some ideas, and we're going to decide where we think would be the best, be our best options. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about the goals for the water plant. Our number one priority is number one, the WCLT tank. And we're looking at that really serious for something to start taking place on that soon. WCLT tank has reached its useful life, but the corrosion taking place, the tank is too small, causing pump stations to cycle more often than is needed. The cost on that is $1,387,700. We were talking about, we were talking about just replacing it at the existing location. It was going to cost close to $1.5 million to erect a steel tank. So what we found out is if we move it up on a higher point, we can actually build a smaller tank. So we're working with two landowners in the area that at the highest point in that area. One gentleman's name is Brunnerman, and the other one's name is Ansel. They're going to allow us to have right-of-ways into the tank, and then also sell us about a little over a quarter of an acre to install the tank. The tank that we're currently looking at would be a concrete tank. It would be a lower, smaller type tank. I think I showed you last week what kind of the style of the tank was, or last month. And the capacity on it would be triple the size of the steel tank. So it's kind of we actually had done some surveying in the property. We already started surveying. We kind of came to an agreement with the landowners, and hopefully we can move forward on getting that ground purchased and the different right-of-ways that's going to allow. It's actually going to be kind of a spoke effect. The easements will allow a dual feed into both sides of the tank, and then also a feed out of the tank going to future development and future. So it has kind of like three right-of-ways involved in the purchase of the property.
The company was not.
Yeah, Windstream is, we would have to work with the landowner anyway. We met with the landowner first. He seems very willing. I think he sees a big picture here for him, that having water available to his ground would be an asset for him in the future for Harper Gold. So it's working real well.
So $1.3 million, that includes everything?
Yes, that does not include the purchase of land. It does include the tank and the right-of-ways and the line to the tank.
But not the land?
But not the land.
Okay.
No, those are engineer's estimates. So. Yeah, those are engineer's estimates. Cost-wise, don't really want to mention that right now because we're still negotiating with the landowner, but we will definitely let you know where we're at. Doesn't seem to be something that's outlandish, by no means. So the mayor knows about it. So it's not way out.
One of the exciting things is if we get this done, the capacity that it allows us over on that site now. If there were to be any future growth along that area, we would need something like this, even if the WCLT tank was fine, because the WCLT tank only holds 130,000
Yeah,
gallons.
133 actually is kind of an oddball.
Which is not much when it relates to water storage. So
Probably the contractor, whoever gets the contract, would be involved with them tearing it down. They would get scrap prices on it, so that would be worked into the cost of the project. But if we were to put that tank in today, we would not be allowed to put that tank in because it doesn't meet 100 gallons per per population. It's way undersized. So I mean, we couldn't install it nowadays with the way that east side's grown.
basically holding area for a little while. It's water before
Basically all it is right now. Concerns me, I mean, a little bit. I mean, we got the, a few years ago we put the pump station in and we got the capacity to do feeds and everything. So now it's time to think about a new tank. Another thing that I'm really, kind of really getting excited about, and I hope everybody can get excited about this, but it's an AMR system. I've talked briefly with you guys about it. It's an automatic meter reading system. And utilities, I'm going to read this word for word for you so that we can have a discussion with it. The utility's most important management tool is timely, reliable meter reading information. Frequent meter readings support operations and comprehensive customer service. This is why the City of Heath needs to implement an automated meter reading system. An AMR system gives us the capability of receiving readings daily. This not only enhances our customer service, but also enables us to generate more accurate bills and to notify customers of unusual water consumptions. Proactive leak detection saves not only the customer's unwanted excess expense, but also helps all of the water customers of the City of Heath. We've met with several companies. One is Badger, one is Census, another one is Zener. We're kind of still in the early stages of figuring out which would be most compatible with what we want to do.
Correct me if I'm wrong, the meters that I have, they just drive by, read it in the street, will this be compatible to, or do you have to take that and do whatever with it, or what?
What we'll probably do is, and this is an estimate, this price I have had, but we will probably keep the east side the way it is. That's about 1/3 of the city. It will stay automated like that.
Oh, okay.
Then 2/3 of the city will be where it comes in automatically. Now we will eventually, as we start replacing things on this side, we will replace that with the newer where it goes directly in. So it's going to kind of be a phasing in. I mean, we're getting everything automated, but as we do that last 1/3, we will be replacing them as time goes on, as those parts start wearing out. Because we just invested money in those not too long ago. So we're going to keep those for a while. And we're going to continue using them.
Is that the one that came in here, worked that out?
Zener came in for a demonstration and talked to you guys. It was 2 representatives. I like their company a lot. I mean, if I was picking today, they seem to be more for the smaller utilities. And their census,
The price is so much better.
the price is a lot better. And your bigger companies like Census and Badger and so forth seem to be higher because they deal with bigger cities and so forth. Johnstown has switched to Zener. Hebron has Badger, or Neptune. Hebron has Neptune. And I'm not sure what Newark has. But we're kind of behind on this technology. And this technology is the future. Of course, they say stuff like that all the time, but we will actually have the capability, we will save money on this system because we won't be sending someone out for final readings. We can get the reading right at the desk across the hall.
You want to reach Johnstown?
I talked to Jack Lick over Johnstown, he's the utilities director there. He said the only thing that they would do over is make sure that their software is compatible. They don't have CMI, we do. They have another company. So he said make sure that the two software companies talk right up front and can work together before you pull the trigger. He said other than that, everything's been really smooth. Installation, our people will install, you know, and they install pretty quick and easy. And then we'll have certain location or collectors, different collectors in the area. They'll come into those collectors, and then from there it comes right into the city hall. And if someone uses, let's say you set it up where it's like 15 or 20% over their normal usage, a flag that comes up in the city hall, I mean, on a daily basis, and we can actually contact those people and say, hey, you've got something wrong somewhere. You either got a toilet running, you've got what, you got a freeze up, you've got something going on.
Them got a ton of metrics.
Yeah.
More than
And then the next step beyond that is that you can actually shut the water off at a residence instead of we can
Instead of sending somebody out?
we can install a valve on the meter right up in the head of the meter, and we can control that meter and not send someone out in the truck. We can go out and well that and then go back out again, turn them on after they've paid or whatever. We can control all of that. Now that's not included in this price. That's something that can be done, but that's the next step. If you decide to go with the next step.
Now this figure here, is that for everything in the city, or is that
That's for 2/3 of the city. That's there. 2/3 of the city.
Yeah. The ones that you already have
On the east side.
It wouldn't be, you couldn't do anything to implement what you've already got to.
Yeah, I mean
Hook up with
it
that.
can be done if you want to spend the money. It can all be changed over. But
There isn't any sense in that.
I mean, we want to eventually work towards that.
Yeah.
And as people have problems with those units, then we'll replace them with the newer style unit. These are also battery operated, and that battery lasts about 3 years. I think if you remember during their demonstration, they said it was like $25 for a new battery. It's kind of inexpensive for a new battery for them. And then this is also a web system, so that all the meters talk to each other. So like if they can't get right to a collector, they can talk to another meter, maybe then to another meter, and then hit the collector. In fact, Johnstown, Jack was telling me that they had one of the collectors down. They didn't even know it wasn't working because it was back feeding
To another one.
to another one, and then so they didn't even realize they were having problems till someone came out to check the system to see how things were.
I'm presuming that this requires some change to building codes or whatever for condos and apartments. So, for some of them currently 1 year serves multiple units.
Yeah, it would be put in our specifications exactly what you have to put in and how you have to install it. I'm trying to think. I don't know that there would probably be some cost increase on that, but I don't know exactly how much. But we'll get more of that information. But it'll be added to the specifications on the bid bills.
We got 4,000 subscribers, users in this town.
In this town, we have all close to 4,000. Right?
4,000, we have 10,000 bathrooms, something.
Yeah.
We can more than double the size of
Oh
it.
yeah.
Still,
I have to pass it.
Is there a timeline for making these decisions?
A lot of it's got to do with budget and how we want to carry forward with our rate study. If we decide to pull the trigger on this, then all the stuff, the tanks, automatic meter reading system, all that stuff will be figured into your rates. So that's how we determine whether it's not. There may be a priority, maybe there's it's another priority that we would rather do than this priority. So it's all gonna be tied into, we're waiting for the final rate study, so. We just got it recently.
Yeah.
I think we still may have a few questions.
45 days late.
But it was so recent, we got it today. Okay, and I haven't even had a chance to read it, so not all the way through. It's been, Mayor and I have had some issues with people doing it this time.
Frustration.
So we told them the way we wanted it. Have you had a chance to look at it? It's not quite what we wanted, but it's better.
Any non-performance penalties associated with the rate study?
Rate study was less than $4,000. So no, there wasn't a time. I'm sure that it has drug on. Third thing I wanted to just discuss a little bit was the dual feed to the west side, and this was something that wasn't going to be done in 2015, but would be in the future. We were kind of shooting for 2017, but I thought I'd bring it up. And basically, we have a bottleneck in our main feed line to the west side. It goes from a 12-inch to an 8-inch to a 12-inch. And we've done some things to improve that. We've upgraded our high service capacity so that more gallons per minute goes out. We've actually put a throttle valve on our 1 million gallon reservoir so it throttles back and pushes more water out to the west side. But ultimately, it should have a dual feed so that the tank just fills quickly. Being our industrial site, it just needs to, when we kick on the pumps, it needs to fill faster. So, anyway, got some prices on that. We were about $551,000 to put in an additional line that we connect from right in front of the Toyota dealership to the Pine Reservoir. That would give a dual feed into that area. So I thought I'd mention it. That's not all I have to discuss on water. That's someone else has to discuss. Or if you have any questions.
The rate study will show the depth falling off and incorporate these large sums.
I'm going to talk a little bit, we're going to discuss a little bit about expenses increasing in wastewater and what we've been doing in the last 4 years. And that's what I'm getting ready to talk about now. I wanted to mention our new mixing system on our jet mix system. We had a pump failure. It will be under warranty. Pulled that pump, didn't connect, and they come pick it up the other day. They did come pick it up. Right. And it's on its way for repairs, so we aren't anticipating any expense on it. All the generators.
Which tank was that?
That's number 3 battery.
Remember we put in the jet mixing?
Yeah.
And there's 2 dry submersible pumps that we put in there to help mix the mixing. Well, the one pump's working fine, but the pump that they had to adjust in the field, they had to do some impeller adjustments. That pump is the one that we're having problems with. So I don't know if they adjust the pump properly. But they'll stand behind it. It's got a 5-year warranty on it, so we shouldn't incur any costs.
When do we expect to have that reinstalled or?
Since they picked it up Friday, we'll be
3 weeks at least.
I would say.
3 weeks a month. The good thing is, it's not a necessity. At the rate we're wasting now, one digester's pretty much what we've been running. I mean, the system works so well anyway. It just digests so much quicker.
Okay.
Also want to mention the generators. All the generators in LU2 complete homes of water and wastewater. So they're up and running.
What's that contract on?
End of this year, in 2015.
End of 2015.
And we switched providers and do whatever we want to do.
It's supposed to be a good job.
We've done a good job, but we had some issues with costs sometimes. But we did, that's the reason I bind them into a contract, was because, you know, their costs seem to fluctuate some. So we made them sign a contract so that the regular routine maintenance remained the same all the time. But sometimes they have some issues with costs on some repair work that aren't
Change order?
not necessarily change order, but not in normal routine maintenance like a block heater. You know, sometimes it seems like they're a little more expensive than what I anticipated, or something like that. So I think we want to shop around next time a little bit, maybe get some prices, and maybe see if we can get a little better prices next time, next contract. So, would you agree with that?
Yeah, that's on this one.
Okay. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about what's happened in the past in wastewater and what we've done. Since 2010, if you look at this little chart here, starting in 2010, in 2011, we did our rebalancing. So if you look at the first line here, we went from $5.01 per 100 cubic feet to $4.91. We actually decreased the wastewater rates. 2012, we went from $4.91 to $4.81. We actually decreased the wastewater rates again, another 2%. Now you tell me any other wastewater utilities it's done that or not. And it's all good. I mean, we rebalanced and stuff. But we found out we were going to do that for 4 years. But in 2012, we found out in 2015 we was going to start to have to show a shortfall if we didn't put a stop to it. 2013, it remained the same, $4.81 per 100 cubic feet. 2014, this year, it remained the same, $4.81 per 100 cubic feet. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years there where we've actually decreased the wastewater rates 4%. Meanwhile, if you go to the next, chemical costs at the wastewater plant have went up 3%. That's the average. That's for chlorine, that's for polymers, that's for dechlorination. Each year it's went up 3%. If you look at the consumer price index, which is the next one over, if you skip that CPI index, it's increased 2%, 3.2%, 2%, 1.4%. So we're showing an increase in the overall commodities and costs of things rising in that 5 years. Electric costs have went up. Now, if you go to the next page, electric costs have increased from $178,000 in 2010 to $240,000 in 2013. That's about a 34% increase in electrical costs.
Turn the lights off, Nick.
Now that's, you know, we do a lot better job than all that now too. I mean, we lock the building, turn all the lights off now. The guy's been doing a really good job. But that's taken directly from Becky McComb, exactly, you know, what our costs were in 2010 and what our costs were for electric in 2013. So about a $61,000 increase, about a 34% increase. Anyway, if you look at the state big column on there, it says state percent increase wastewater. This is what the average utilities has raised its rate each year. In 2010, the average utility in the state of Ohio raised its rate to 4.3%. 2011, the average utility raised its rates 3.9%. In 2012, the average utilities raised its rate 4.3%. In 2013, the average utilities raised its rate another 4.3%. So
This is just wastewater.
This is just wastewater. Now, water, we increased, put that on a normal increase and we are in good shape in Norm. In fact, we can get by with these improvements that we're talking about, these capital improvements, with very.
Who did the rate studies?
It actually began with Malcolm Perning, and they became Arcadis.
They did the one a few years ago. They did the one a few years ago, and they're doing this one right now.
John, you've got 8% of increase as the, how we compare to the state. But do you know how we compare as far as rates go in wastewater?
As far as rates in wastewater, we're probably just right around the average mark in the state. We're probably right in the average.
Can I ask when last you had an energy audit done at the plant?
We've had some energy audits. It hasn't been anything frequently. We've gotten, actually from AEP, we got a certificate. They actually paid us an amount of money not too long ago. I think it was like $6,000 because we updated a lot of our pump stations to new pumps. And we got rid of all of our old motors, some of our older motors, and we updated them with newer motors and newer pumps. So we got a certificate, and I think I put it in your box. I don't remember if you did anything with it. Where we had saved, by updating and so forth, our pumps and so forth. But actual energy audit, we have had some of those, but it's been a while ago since we had one.
Would it be beneficial since I look at these liquor cost increases to do it?
Well, the thing of it is we just updated in 2013, 2011, we updated the wastewater plant with almost all new pumping. In 2000, and we just completed in 2014 all new high service pumps at the water plant, and most of the pumps involved there. And in 2011, our biggest pump station that pumps to the east side was totally redone with newer pumps. So the audit would help us a little bit as far as if we could run certain times of the day where we could get a better rate on kilowatts. But most of our plant processes run continuous. Down at the wastewater plant, the pumps run 24 hours all the time. We could do a little bit at the water plant where we could kind of arrange things, but I think when we did the study, we found out that we didn't really use enough. It wouldn't be of a big benefit for us to do that because of the size of the pumps and stuff that we have and the electricity that we consume.
I understand a lot of municipalities converting their street lighting from incandescent to LEDs because the cost comes down. Is that true for the treatment plants? Would that be a significant savings?
I think the initial cost of putting an LED light in, there would be a return on investment at some point, not knowing what that analysis would be. But at first thought, the initial investment of going to LED is not cheap.
Outside
It takes a while to recoup the money.
Yeah, I don't think lighting is a small portion of at
Yeah.
wastewater. It's mostly
We run a lot of
pump
motors.
and blower. Like John mentioned, since what was it, 12 or 13, we upgraded. We used to run 200 horsepower blowers on the aeration tank. Now we run one. We used to run 2, sometimes 300 horsepower blowers on the digesters. Now we run one. I mean, so we've cut back, even though
What's this been?
When you also lump in all of the lift stations
New
that
lift
we have
stations.
in the system,
Yeah.
light generation as a cost of electricity is
VFDs, we put VFDs on a lot of pumps so that a VFD will run flow proportion. It'll ramp up as the flow needs it to. I mean,
It's not like we've got old plants. I mean, everything that we've got's been kept up and updated, electrical wise, in both water and wastewater. We just completed a lot of work on that. So, you know, I think we've done well. If you kind of look at the pit, and I don't have these pages numbered, but if you look at the explanation of wastewater cost increases, I have a chart down there, and it kind of shows a general. You know, it shows 2010 what the state averages are, and then it showed. I have it in blue. We've actually decreased 2%, 2011, and then I think we decreased another 2% 2010, which didn't show on this chart when I punched it in.
Yeah, it was 2011 and 2012.
Okay, so 2011, 2012. There should also be another bar going down 2% in 2012 too.
It would be good for communication with the public to say how many kilowatts you used to use and how much you're currently using.
That would be good. Yeah, we do need to do that. And the best place to use that is our end of year report we put out from
Oh yeah, the
water.
one that gets nailed out or whatever.
Yeah, that needs to be included in there. So we could actually, that would help us, yeah, if we add some information on that, I think.
You should be able to get that information fairly
Oh, yeah.
easily in year-end total kilowatts used.
So, what's nice about wastewater plant is that if we go to goals for 2015, the wastewater plant.
Oh, so just, I mean, to kind of cut to the chase again, we don't have the information ready to present to you, but expect there to be wastewater rate increases coming up here in the next few years, because we're due for them, and the numbers certainly indicate that that's what's going to be needed in order for us to maintain our. We want to have 6-month operational cushion, right?
Yeah, if you look at the chart, we keep a 6 months operation. So if something would happen drastic in the city, where we would lose, say we had a hurricane, or we had, not a hurricane, but a tornado, we had something where we couldn't collect money into the city. We could operate the city for 6 months without actually taking any kind of money in. We would have that available to us in an emergency situation. We've always kept that 6 month. And we want to maintain that, always try to maintain that.
Has anybody ever thought, what kind of scenario would have to happen in order to precipitate such a, operating without any income coming in? What would have to happen in order for that to happen?
I don't know. Xenia, that comes to mind, where that was basically.
Yeah, but I would have thought that would have also taken the plant down, too.
It probably did, but, we would be trying to repair it, we'd probably be trying to fix it, we'd probably be trying to restore water to different locations, we'd still be trying to treat wastewater, because the EPA would be in here, and they'd be wanting us to try to do this, and try to do that. I mean, I don't know, that's just.
Earthquake, we'd have a lot of pipes burst underground pipe.
I think not only us would be in a bad shape, and I'm sure other communities around us would be also in bad shape too. So I don't know why.
Curious.
I mean, I don't know. That's just where the city's always done that. A lot of cities do it. I know Hebron does it. I mean, I don't. You maintain that little buffer. It's just like having a little savings account, I guess, is what it's like. So that's what we try to maintain, and that's what we're going to try to continue. Anyway, talk about some of the goals for the wastewater plant. We have the scum collector will need to be replaced in 2015. That's $125,000. We have a drying bed in 2016 that we'd like to install. I've talked to you about the drying bed, where we take material from lift stations and plant processes, and we put it in there, and we dry it out, and we skim it off, and then we can put it into the solids. And then the last thing is repairs that will probably be needed to be done in the future, say around 2018, to our collection system. We would want to set aside about $150,000 for lining sewer lines, anything that may come up. What's nice is in your replacement fund that you put about $75,000 a year. If you look right below their major fund report, wastewater replacement fund, you have $967,000 in there. all of these improvements can be done taking the money out of that replacement fund. Even with the money of these improvements coming out of that replacement fund, we are still showing a shortfall in the future. So like the mayor said, be prepared that we are going to have to increase sewer rates in the next 3 or 4 years. So we will talk more about that in our next meeting in December, after we've had time to go through the rate study and looked at everything, and we can present it to you guys, so we know where we're going to be at for 2000. We normally do the rates for a 4-year period too, so this will extend for 15, 16, 17, and 18, where the rates will be set for the next 4 years. Now there will be slight increases in water if you guys want to do the AMR system and you want to put that water tank in, but there's also some variations in that. I don't know if you guys remember, but how we paid off our last tank, we did that where we took notes and we carried that in across for so many years and let the fund build up, and we borrowed money for 4 years, and then we collected that money, and when we paid it off this year, I think 2014, we paid for the water line going to the west side and the tank. That's something that we can do. If you, instead of going into long-term debt, but you guys got to remember that you're going to have to increase rates to do that. Okay, so in the next 4 years, you would have an increase, and then you would pay that off at the end of that 4 years, and you wouldn't go into a 7-year loan. Heath likes that idea. I think it's a good idea if you can do that. It's just a matter of whether you guys choose to do that and put that into your rate structure to do it that way. So that's an alternative that will be supplied to us in this rate study too, is how we want to finance that. Do we want to go to a 20-year loan, or do we want to try to pay this thing off like we did with our last tank in 4 years? Okay, so that's something that will be presented to you too. Other than that, we have the major funds down here. Anybody have any questions about water or wastewater?
So it'd be prudent to update your ordinances for building codes. Sounds like you're pretty sure you're going to do AMR at some point with one of these contractors.
Yeah, we need to start looking at that. I feel like I got a little bit of time, but we will definitely start working with something like that. I don't know. How do you guys feel about the AMR? I mean, overall.
I'm ready for it. Yeah. I think we're behind the curve on that one. We'll save manpower. TVs can be leveled out. And
You know, I think a lot of people are going to this because they're looking into the future and saying, you know, manpower's probably going to be decreased some. Maybe not, but probably will be in the future.
rate of increase for some.
Yeah.
The savings of being able to
Gas
say,
costs.
shut water off here and turn it back on to where you don't have to send
Final
it
readings
out.
even now.
And just,
Well, wait. Let me back up.
Okay.
What you just said, being able to turn the water off, that is a whole nother level of expense, not what we're looking at in this. This is simply a meter reading thing. Well, what John said is they do have that product out there. That's not what we're
You have to
looking
have
do.
this, what we want now, though, in order to add that capability. But you're still, Doug, there's still savings, because on final reads, or we send people out all the time for final readings, or people moving. I mean, that 2 people go out in the truck and the truck rolls, okay? Then they come back, and you know, I think
savings in gas.
overall. And what it does is it structures not only that, but it moves the concentration of spending so much time on meter reading to doing more maintenance work that needs to be done, like turning the valves, working on the hydrants, you know, painting the hydrants. I mean, just maintenance work that we could be getting done.
Got to go with technology. You have to. But, I mean, it's like having a typewriter still.
We're behind the curve on it.
And
I
it's
mean,
a service. I mean, if you can immediately tell that there's a problem,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, without
I
a
mean,
doubt.
that's a service to
You know, a lot of people, I mean, we have a forgiveness rule. We allow a person to use that forgiveness rule once every 5 years. Say something extraordinary happens where they have a bad leak in their fixture or in a toilet, or they have something freeze and break and it runs, or the kid let the water run outside and the hose and so forth. Once every 5 years you can come in, you can ask for that, we will make an adjustment. Other than that, it's coming out of their pocket. It's coming out of your consumer's pocket. So, you know, having a tool like this would be unbelievable.
Not only that, but it costs the city a treatment.
Sure.
Thanks, John.
Okay, meeting adjourned at 6:24.
Have a happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Good.